full name is Larry Watani Stiner. I prefer Watani. Watani Stiner. I was born in Houston, Texas, 1948, January the 30th. My conscious life began in Houston, Texas, in Jim Crow South. And I remember the segregated world that I was thrust into. Grew up in a Catholic family. Everything was looked at as terms of saying our prayers, obeying the commandments, and staying in our place. And to me as a child, the only way I can make sense of that kind of segregated world was through the eyes of a Catholic child. So for me, it was a sin. I didn't look at it in terms of being, a discrimination or segregation. I looked at it as it'll be a sin to drink from the white water fountain. It would be a sin to go through the front door instead of to the back door. My father, he was teaching school. He had a PhD. He was a mathematician. Yeah, but when he went to the war, he went to World War II, and came back, and he had a real serious alcohol problem. Once they start drinking, it's like all hell breaks loose. I was 7 years old. 7 years old when I left Houston. My mother wanted to leave and take us, because she had a sister living in Watts, Mary. Yes, and she wanted to get away from him and get out of Texas so she can, because she's a registered nurse, so she wanted to better just get a job, a house, and just move us out of that environment so she couldn't take everybody together, so she took me and my oldest brother. We got on the Greyhound bus. That was a whole new world for us. Leaving Texas, particularly with mommy and her protective morality and her, the praying, and we would never curse. Cursing, it was just, that's you kids would never. And not only that, and hitting people in the face, that's dirty fighting. I mean, it was just so many things that was happening there. I remember we went to school, my brother and I used to have to run from school just every day. Teachers used to give us a head start because we were from Texas, and our name, Steiner, Steiner. So it was just a whole bunch of things that were happening in the school thing that we used to wish we could go back to Texas, because these kids, they fight and they hit each other in the face. It was just like a whole new world we had to really try to adjust to. You had to learn how to fight or you gonna get whooped. Ain't no pleading. Like my brother had a fight, and I'm trying to plead with the guy. No. Do you believe in God? And I'm, and they wasn't hearing that. I believe in hitting you in your mouth, and then so it's just like, the whole thing has been changed when I got to Watts. So we had to either learn really quick, or you had to figure out who's who. Went to 52nd Street School, John Muir, and then graduated from Manual. And so that's where I sort of, grew up in that environment, with the gladiators and just that whole neighborhood. That's how I know everybody around in that neighborhood, because the ones that were older, like Bird, he was in the Slauson. Bird was in the Slauson, and Bunchy was in the Slauson, but all of them were older than I was. So they were, so they had, each set, which I don't hear a lot about, each set have their own, like, people that they looked up to, and they have their heroes, like, the Slauson had like Bunchy and Bird and Bit, and we had people like Floyd Patterson, we had Bullet. So we had every set have their sort of legend in the neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
The turning point for me was at school, and my brother was I was always thought that I was like the cool one in the family. He was the type of person that run in the hallways, and playing tag with some other guy, and to me that wasn't being cool at all. And he was my brother, so it made me look like I was, So anyway, I kept telling him he was ranking and don't do that. So he actually bumped into this old guy named Carlos,
Uh-huh.
and Carlos was gonna beat him up. And he was trying to apologize, and he cries easily. He was crying. My brother cries easily too. So he grabbed him by his collar and told him, I'm gonna, be ready after school. I'm gonna beat your, And they went through those things there, and he was trying to apologize that it was an accident. So Carla was gonna beat him up anyway. So somehow, I don't know how I said that I was gonna take up for my brother. I'll say something, and somebody brought it up. I didn't really mean it. I said it, he better not touch my brother. So now everybody switched up and figured that I'd be a better fight for Carlos than him. So now the thing in school that, yeah, Larry gonna fight Carlos, So it's a big old thing in school. Now I can't get away, but I'm shaking, because I don't want to fight Carlos because I know I can't beat Carlos. So I come up with this brilliant idea in class. I was gonna go in the classroom and just fight him in front of the teachers. So if they break it up, it won't last long. So if it ever beats, so he's in the same class as my brother. And so I asked the teacher I need to go get my brother the keys. So I go to the classroom and I asked the teacher, because Carla's sitting right by the door, and I asked the teacher, I said, I need to get my brother the keys, for the house and stuff. So I'm walking by there. Carlos sitting in the chair by the door, and I figure I can break through the door after that. So I was going to try to surprise him with a punch. He saw me coming, he stood up, and I swung at him and ran across his shoulders, but he stood up, and he was taller than I even imagined. He started swinging, so I back up trying to get out through the door, and the door was locked. So only thing I can do is start swinging. So I'm swinging, and then the teacher run over there and broke it up, which I was glad, and saying that, you come in my class, went there. So he took us to the principal, so we had the principal, and Carlos, he wasn't as tough as he said he started, but Carlos been in trouble before, so they couldn't understand what gotten into me. So they wanted to call they wanted to suspend us both at first. But then the principal said, well, Larry's never been in trouble before. I don't know what's gotten into him. Why would he leave the room? And, so they decided they're going to call my mother and find out, and they said, well, I don't know what's going on with Larry. So they suspended Carlos because this is his third offense. Anyway, so Carlos got out of school. But what happened as a result of that, I got a reputation as being, and I wrote that out from through the gangs, to prison, after that I had a reputation, that I was able to maintain and give confidence and stuff like that. This whole thing, where it just caused me to, change my dress, my walk. And
that's where your rep started?
That's where it started. And I took it all the way through the gang thing, because people still was talking about, that I do some other things along the way, but that there was something that solidified that, that I'm, and they wouldn't mess with my brother because they think that I would come to his aid, but that was pure luck.